What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm the dude, joined always by Ken, the Barbie doll. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers prepare for the Indianapolis Colts 2 days from now. But first, we want to wish everybody a happy Halloween and official birthday of spooky season here for those who celebrate. It's a good one. I hope everybody's got their costumes rocking and rolling and ready to go. And with that said, I will ask you, as I do every day, how you feeling, my friend?
Feeling spooky, feeling scary, feeling like I'm just Ken. And I tell you what, I love handing out candy on Halloween, just in general. I just go around. I'm just kidding. But Halloween and trick-or-treating is the best. There's a ton of costumed children around our neighborhood here. So I'm pumped to hand out candy with my wife later after this. I love Halloween. Let's scare the SHIT out of some kids. And maybe the Steelers will do the same to the Colts on Sunday. Start a spooky season.
That's what you're hoping for. Hopefully the Steelers do get a little spooky season revenge here for the Indianapolis Colts or against the Indianapolis Colts. But I hear you. It's the best time of year. I am a huge fan of handing out candy. That's my favorite. Everybody says, oh, I got these parties to go to, got this, got that. You want to know what I want to do? I want to watch a scary movie, and I want to hand out candy, and I want to, just chill and eat the rest of the candy. That's what I wanted. That's adult trick-or-treating at its finest. Let's talk some Pittsburgh Steelers football here. The injury news, pretty massive. They will lose Corey Trice, who we will dive into here in a second for right now, the foreseeable future. Jabril Peppers is out with a quad injury. There is an illness going around the locker room that affects two of their defenders. And then on top of that, Isaac Seumalo is back, but we'll talk about whether or not he should be. Let's start with Corey Trice here. He is out with a knee injury, happened yesterday. He's trying to make his way back from a hamstring injury on IR. He spoke 2 days ago about how he feels he can be the guy, has a bright future in the NFL, so on and so forth. Now he's out, and it kind of feels like his season might be behind us. Not a big blow to the Steelers defense, one that they'll have to overcome, obviously, but more so than that, a blow to the future of Corey Trice here. What were your thoughts when you saw and realized today at practice that this is legit and Corey Trice, he probably is about to miss some time?
Yeah, it's, I hope this doesn't sound too dramatic. It's honestly heartbreaking because I'm a fan of Corey Trice, and I think the amount of chances that he has been given due to his talent and potential, which I am fully in agreement with, can only happen for so long, and he only gets so many opportunities. And it just seems like I agree with the comments he made a couple of days ago. He certainly could be a top guy if everything fell his way, but part of being a great NFL player, being the top guy, is being available and being healthy. And as much effort as he clearly puts into it, as hardworking as he is, as determined as he is to get back, it stinks because it just seems like for whatever reason, his body just can't handle what's going on in the rigor. And as soon as he seems to be getting healthy again, boom, another, and it's always the lower body too. So it really stinks. It's not a huge loss. I agree with you in that sense. Like, the Steelers defense is already pretty bad. How much better was Corey Trice going to make it in week 9 of the regular season? I don't know, but I was certainly ready to give him a shot, hoping that he would get another shot. And so I am just my heart goes out for him. Hopefully it's not too bad of an injury. Hopefully he can, he's still within the practice window coming out of IR, but it seems like he's going to have to revert back to the IR. Depending on how this goes. So just what a crappy turn of events for him. Very, very spooky, haunting in the bad way. So
no, I don't disagree. It's a terrible situation, but it's probably the end of Corey Trice. Like, at this point, you can't trust this guy to be on the field. You have to move in a different direction. I think personally, the Pittsburgh Steelers, even if he does come back healthy, can't trust. Like, you were back for 2 days and you suffered a knee injury. At that point, it's time to, I don't want to say immediately move in a different direction, but you can't look at Corey Trice as a guy that you could rely on to be on the field. You just can't. And you have to look for other options. And there are other options out there. The Pittsburgh Steelers can look at a Daryl Porter. They can look at a Beanie Bishop or Dante Kent and try to figure it out. And it's not great, but it's honestly the best ability is availability. And Corey Trice does not have that. And because of that, it's not, you're not even taking a step backwards. You're taking a step back from a guy who's played 6 games in 3 years and who's suffered 1 major injury, 2 major hamstring injuries, and now another knee injury. And you're thinking you have to figure it out. I do think, unless you feel differently, I don't think that we will see Corey Trice play football for the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially ever again.
No, I unfortunately, I do think you are right. I remember we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago and about how like this was probably the last big shot he would get within the Steelers organization, and it seems to have quickly gone away. So unfortunately, I want to disagree with you. I want to say no, the Steelers are going to give him every shot once again, but they can't. They need to improve the secondary. They can't wait any longer on Corey Trice's availability. He's not going to be the next best option come the NFL trade deadline on Tuesday. So they're going to have to move into a different direction. And I just think that means Corey Trice is probably going to end up going back onto IR, like I said a minute or two ago. It's going to cost him his chance to come back this season. And then the Steelers are just going to be like, listen, you've played 6 games in 3 years. You've been injured 600 times in 3 years. It just hasn't worked out. It stinks. You're a hell of a player, hell of a person. We just can't keep you around any longer. It just doesn't make any more sense.
I 100% agree. And as I say that, the sunglasses, they're coming off. The regular glasses. They're going.
It was Noah the whole time?
It was Noah the whole time here. We're back. I feel like now I just went from the Big Lebowski to Noah from 6 to 7:30 in the morning, somewhere in that ballpark. Just a smooth transition. But now I can see you guys. This feels great. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a struggle out there for a second. Corey Trice, I think I agree with you. His time most likely over. You can't sit around and wait for a guy like this. You have to move in a different direction. Corner is going to be such a big part of how they rebuild it this offseason. And you can't bank on Corey Trice being there as an option. There are other news. Jabril Peppers out with a quad. Chuck Clark questionable with an illness, and Cole Holcomb questionable with an illness as well. Let's start with Jabril Peppers. Was there any part of you that thought that there was going to be a chance him and Kyle Duggar walked on the field as starters on Sunday for the Steelers? Because I kind of had that thought that the Steelers may turn to the former New England guys and say, screw it, we're going to give them an opportunity here.
I was kind of in the same boat. I don't know if it was the best option that the Steelers had available, but I mean, it's kind of sounded more intriguing than throwing Duggar and Juan Thornhill out there, or, having Jalen Ramsey kick back into safety and then just sticking any one of those other guys alongside him. They had some chemistry before. They obviously have experience with one another. I would have been fine with that. I wouldn't have felt too worried. I wouldn't have thought that they were going to come out here and set the tone and be like the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, like maybe they once were for a brief moment in New England. But yeah, I would rather have them out on the field together than, Thornhill, once again, not to keep throwing him under the bus, but it's an easy candidate. It's an easy candidate too.
Yes.
So yeah, that stinks. How many other injuries are they even going to have 3 safeties available on Sunday? It seems like it's very much, who's going to play, because they're decimated right now.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a real chance that Beanie does get a call up, and I, as of yesterday, did not think that. But you don't see illnesses coming. You know what I mean? I didn't think Jabril Peppers' quad injury was going to keep him out of the game. Apparently, it's pretty serious, and that's their next option. Like, that's where they're going to go. Beanie could play safety. He can play corner. It's either going to be him or Daryl Porter Jr., but I think you have to call somebody up because you're not going to call safety. Do you have a safety to call up? I don't even know if there's a safety on the practice squad worth calling up. At least those guys have some experience here, and you were impressed by them at some point in their careers. I think you could go with a Beanie, go with the Daryl Porter Jr., and essentially just allow Jalen to play almost all safety in this game, which again is not ideal, but it's almost what you're stuck with here, and call one of those guys up to straight up start in the slot, which is wild. But you might end up with just two safeties in Juan Thornhill and Kyle Duggar, and Jalen's got to be your third, so you're gonna need another corner. I could see one of those guys getting called up. I really truly could. Or Brandon Echols, I guess, starting in the slot. Darius Slay, who I've already forgotten about, starts on the outside, and that works. But I could see one of those guys getting called up. I think it's a pretty big loss to lose Jabril Peppers. I thought there was a chance that he was actually going to get playing time and potential starting time with Kyle Duggar. And don't get me wrong, like that's not like, oh my gosh, they rebuilt their safety room. This is great. No, it's other options, new options after what happened last week. I am a little bit worried. Do you think there's a chance? Do you expect them to call somebody up? Or do you see them going into this game with potentially two guys?
I would be shocked if they were to enter the game shorthanded like that. I anticipate Chuck Clark is probably going to play, but
Yes.
you never know. A name you didn't mention is Derek Forrest, I believe, who was added to their practice squad. He is positionally, Noah, the dude, a safety. So
yeah, him and Kyle Duggar have combined for a total of 4 days of practice too. Combined. That's if you put 2 + 2 because they've only practiced twice. I mean, that's where we draw the line. That's where in my head you're going, all right, this is just useless. This is just a useless call up. Why are you doing this? At least bring somebody else up that you could at least try to play there. And again, like Beanie's got experience. Daryl Porter Jr. was the guy that turned all your heads during training camp and the preseason. Maybe one of those guys gets a call. I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to the injuries, which is next, Cole Holcomb, Chuck Clark, questionable illness. You never know where that's going to go. Do you think this means Malik Harrison's coming back to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, that would be a nice addition. I think you certainly will have the space for him one way or another. And I believe he's listed as questionable as well. Is his designation for this? So
questionable. Everything's questionable.
I feel confident in him coming back as well. He's done some good work, and I think he has been getting more involved. So yeah, I think he should. Is the Holcomb injury certainly opens the door in a very serious way. And I think again between having limited number of defensive backs available, having this illness or whatever it is going around the locker room, seems like Malik Harrison, if he's good to go, if he's healthy, he's going to be back in the lineup, which I think is going to be a big boost for the Steelers, especially with his familiarity with the Indianapolis Colts. You never know how a player like that who's been with an organization will come up big in certain situations. So I do anticipate him coming back, and let's see if he makes a difference.
I don't know if he's gonna. It'd be a hell of a game too. I will say this on the other side of this though. This is the one game you don't want to lose Cole Holcomb, because Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football. And you're going out there saying, Payne Wilson, brother, you got it. Go ahead, dude. Just do your thing. Just do your thing. Patrick Queen couldn't tackle a squirrel last week. Get out there. You got it. Don't even worry about it. A mannequin standing in a store would probably miss a tackle from either of those guys right now. You want Cole Holcomb out there, which is brutal not to have him out there. And I think it is a loss, but I do think that getting Malik Harrison back could be an improvement. I don't know about a big one, but could be an improvement, let alone. Let's talk the other side of this. Isaac Seumalo coming back. I was kind of hoping Spencer Anderson started this week. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought he deserved it. I would have liked to see the Steelers be able to have a guy that they could kind of test for the future, potentially earn a spot for the rest of the season, but at best, just to go out there and be able to say, you don't got to worry about guard next year. I got it covered. Just draft an extra lineman, figure that side of it out. Now Isaac's back. Do you think Spencer should still kind of maybe get the opportunity to prove himself here?
Honestly, no. Not that he hasn't earned the chance to have more reps, not that he hasn't earned more trust from the Pittsburgh Steelers and all of that. He is playing very well when he is being utilized. He has performed admirably. I think he is in line for a larger role in 2026. while you still have Isaac Siamalu, and I've been someone who has not been very high on him and his performance lately. Not that there's been a lot of Isaac Siamalu celebrators over the last couple of weeks, but I have not been particularly fond of his game recently. That being said, he's still a veteran lineman. He still is. If that's the weakest link of those five, I'm quite okay with it for right now. And it still allows the Steelers the flexibility of using their heavy personnel, which has been one of the lone bright spots in this offense throughout the past few weeks and really the entire season. So I would love to see Anderson's role expand over time, but I think for right now, the offense is clicking in so few ways. I'd hate to disrupt that just to give him more snaps at the left guard position. Now, Isaac Siamalu, is he going to play the entire game? Is he going to come out? Like he's clearly very beaten up this year. Injuries are taking a toll. Will he be able to go the entire time? I'm not sure. I think one way or another, Anderson's going to get more reps and more opportunities. I just don't think they
Yes.
need to rush it immediately in week 9 against the Colts. I think it's going to happen regardless.
I would kind of like to see what the offense is like if Isaac was the move around guy, the extra heavy package. He's not catching passes, although you want to talk about the scariest man on the planet catching a pass for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Isaac Seumalo. That would be awesome. I don't think that would happen. I don't disagree with you. You're taking away the Steelers' best part of their offense right now, which is the heavy package, the jumbo package. It's the reason that the offensive line is working. It's the reason that the running game's working. Maybe it's a mask to everything. Maybe it's an actual solution. Who knows? I still kind of was hoping Spencer got an opportunity. Am I super bummed that Isaac's out there? Do I think Isaac brings anybody noticeably down or the group noticeably down? No, I don't. Do I think he's the weak link right now? Yes. And do I think at some point that has to be addressed? Not right now. Eventually, yes, because there are moments where Aaron Rodgers is getting sacked and Isaac's standing there like, I don't know what I did. That was not even me. I don't think. Maybe it was. And you're going, all right, that was concerning. And as those stack, I start to get more and more concerned. However, I agree with you. It does remove the one part of their offense that I am like all in on, okay, let me ask this though. If Spencer doesn't start this season, and I'll probably ask this again at some point this year, if Spencer doesn't start this season, are you still comfortable giving him an opportunity to start next year?
Yeah, I am. And I don't need him to sort of audition for that in order to get that opportunity next year. I think when it comes to something like the offensive line, it's a gradual process a lot of the times if you're not an immediate starter, right? I know that sounds very obvious, but like you look at Zach Frazier, he's a plug and play starter from the beginning. Spencer Anderson has worked his way up and he's taken those steps and he's shown that over time he can continue to sort of rise and meet those challenges. And I think that he's done so once again this year by taking on those extra snaps in the jumbo personnel. And so that kind of, again, if I'm the coaching staff, I'm looking at that and seeing, okay, and I'm saying he's clearly able to take what we're giving him, run with it, improve, make those adjustments, and then the results are continuously positive. And so he's done that again this year. Let's give him a little bit more next year. And that little bit more just so happens to be him playing for a starting role. And I think then the opportunity comes there, next preseason into the regular season. And again, if your one hole is, left guard, but you have 4 solid pieces around him, it's a problem, but that's a problem I'm okay with the Steelers dealing with for the start of a season.
No, it's easily the problem that you could deal with. When Dan Moore was here, I used to say it all the time. He's the 5th offensive lineman, and you always need a 5th offensive lineman. You don't want that to be your left tackle, but your left guard, you could deal with that. Or your right guard, left guard. You could deal with that. You could be okay with that situation if that's what it came out to be. I don't disagree with you there. All right, that's the injuries here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Friday. Let's make our picks. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on a 2-game losing streak. Things are looking rough. Let's not act like things are not looking rough, like the Pittsburgh Steelers need a turnaround like they've never had before. And that almost feels like the 5-game losing streak that they were a part of last year to end the season. It just was not great. Has not been great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe they turn around. Maybe they don't. Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-point dogs in this one with a 50.5 over under, which tells me Vegas thinks the Indianapolis Colts, they're going to score some points. They're going to score some big points on here. We both predicted wins last week, I believe. Both predicted wins the week before. We are as ice cold as the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves. We'll see if they will turn it around here. 4-4 or 5-3. That is one drastic turn of events if it is one way or the other. I'll give you the floor here, my friend.
Thank you,
What's
buddy.
your prediction?
Oh, I want to continue my cold streak. I'm prefacing that right now. I want my cold streak to continue. I have not picked correctly the past couple of weeks, hoping it continues once again because I just don't feel good about this one at all. I know I made some crazy bold predictions yesterday. I know we've been finding our way back to optimism after the disappointment that was last weekend, but I still don't feel great. And I think the Colts are just going to be too much, and they'll be able to just sort of run rampant on the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially as all of these injuries continue to pile up. I have the Colts, even though they are away, even though they are only getting 3 points. I have them blowing that up and winning by a final score of 34-21. They're going to smash the over. They're going to run it up, and the Steelers, if they're lucky, they'll keep it a little bit closer. But I think this is a Colts win decisively.
Where do the Steelers go from there? Is the season over? Is the AFC North over? Does the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson take a win over the Miami Dolphins and run with it? Like, where does this go if the Steelers lose this week to the Colts?
I think we are just on another collision course for some end of the regular season drama, the AFC North coming down to the wire and those final matchups in the closing weeks of the regular season. Season won't be over. I think we're just, again, on this collision course, this path streamlined to a wild card spot at this point and fighting for the AFC North. So yeah, I don't think it's over. Do you think the season's over if we lose this game? Because I mean, they're not going to win it. So like that's the.
I don't know. Maybe. Let me ask another question because I do have a score prediction here. I'll dive into kind of where I think the season goes from there when I say it. But is 34 points? That's 3 games in a row where you're giving up plus 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there even a possibility that TA loses his job after that one?
Possibility for sure. You know, there's not a lot of Steelers defenses that give up 30 points 3 times in a row, 4 times out of 7. You know, like it's been a very bad defense, and not in the fun way. And I think that TA is certainly, it's a possibility. You give up 30 points again, what else are they going to do? You know, like head's got to roll at that point.
It's just so bad, dude. That's so bad. All right. Here's mine. 34-21. You got them. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been so long since I've since I have picked the Steelers to lose. Years. I think we've gone years on this podcast where every week I could convince myself into why the Steelers are going to win every single week. And that's because I'm just an optimistic guy. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here sipping on a White Russian and 4:25 in the afternoon on a Friday wearing a robe. Life is optimistic, my friend. It's a positive world we live in. This one's tough. I don't play the whole Colts didn't beat anybody. No chance. I play the Colts are the best team in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the NFL. The Steelers' run game sucks. The Steelers' defense stinks. Danny Dimes looks like Danny Dimes. Nobody looks good. Nobody looks good at all. And now Kyle Duggar's supposed to come out here and change everything with no Jabril Peppers, which means it's still Juan Thornhill and Chuck Clark. Yikes. Beanie Bishop or Darryl Porter Jr. stepped foot on that field on Sunday, and I'm telling you, my jaw might be through the floor of just, well, there it is. It was fun, guys. It was a good time. I hate doing this, guys. I hate doing this. This is not a prediction that makes me feel good. I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers 25 again. Indianapolis Colts 31. And it is a game that is close at the end, but nowhere near it. And I think it's Cincinnati 2.0. We're right at the end. Aaron Rodgers does something to say, there it is, we're back. And then they're not back. And the defense loses it. I'll say this, because I'll answer the 2 questions that I asked you. I don't think the season's over.
Mhm.
But I do think that it's a big wake-up call, and I think that it becomes very dramatic from here on out. This is a roller coaster ride amongst roller coaster rides. I do think TA potentially loses his job in the next 2 weeks. I do think that that's a real possibility that it's time to move on if that happens. And on top of that, I do think that all attention turns to Tomlin, and this 3-game losing streak is the first time in a long time where there's like real, holy crap, Mike Tomlin is on the hot seat conversations, and we're not sitting here defending it the other way around. That's where my eyes are. And again, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that this is the other effect. This is the first time in a long time I've done this, but I just don't have any I don't have much faith that the Steelers defense is going to walk away winners in this one.
I get it. You're giving them more credit than I am, that's for sure. But I mean, they're watch them prove us wrong. Watch them.
I hope so.
Yeah, I said this. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be making the correct pick this week.
No,
it's just I get it. The Colts. Who have the Colts beaten? They lose to the Rams. Like, they've had some tough games. Wins are wins. They're 7-1 in the NFL, and they're a good team right now. And they have beaten all of these teams in so many different ways with the way they are utilizing their elite. I'm scared for the score of this game. I think I was as generous as I could be.
I don't know if I'm super. The Steelers love to make things dramatic. You know what I mean? Even the Packers game, you get that 2-point conversion. That's a 1-score game. You lost that game by 8 points, which is nuts. So it's been a long time since a blowout like that happened. Maybe Aaron Rodgers gives me confidence he'll at least be able to keep it somewhat close. And the Colts defense is not very good. But again, with the who they beat conversation, like, who'd the Steelers beat? You know what I mean? They beat the Patriots before the Patriots were good. They beat the Vikings, who are turning out to not be so good. And they beat the Jets, who are the worst team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's, they haven't really beaten anybody either. And I think that conversation's there. And it's not a good one. It's not a good one. We'll see what happens. This is the first time in a long time I'm sitting here saying, man, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. It's been a long time since Steelers have convinced me to pick. And maybe it's just because I'm too chill right now. Maybe that's the problem. But I'm telling you, I feel a little bit nervous. All right. With that said, guys, that's everything on our agenda. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to start answering all your questions. So toss them in the chat. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh, this one's for you. From the voices behind all Steelers talk comes black and gold apparel, your go-to for bold, fan-driven merch that reps the city, the Steelers, and everything in between. Whether you bleed black and gold or just love that Pittsburgh grit, we've got something for you. It's more than a podcast. It's a community. And thanks to your support, we're proud to bring the passion from our mics to your closets. Gear up, stand out, and show the world what real fans look like. Shop now at blackandgoldapparel.myshopify.com.
All righty. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. If you got questions, toss them in the chat. We'll get to as many of them as we can before we head out of here. Before we get kicking here, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and help us get to 60,000. That would be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. All right, starting it off with Chris here. At what point do we realize that cornerback is too crippling a position to seriously compete this season? I think trading talent for draft picks makes sense. You have made that argument in the last couple of days here for names like Alex Highsmith and Pat Freiermuth to quote unquote retool. I'll kind of give you the floor to explain yourself a little bit more.
I think it's a very viable way of rebuilding on the fly. And while I obviously don't speak for the Steelers, and I don't think the Steelers have this intention of doing this, I think it is a very smart thing to look at your most expensive players across some of your positions, identify which ones you think will be here and not here if you are to try to win a Super Bowl in 2027 or 2028 with theoretically a new quarterback. If they're not in that vision, now's the time to trade him, in my opinion. So I look at a guy like Alex Highsmith. He's probably not going to be on that team in a couple of years. this is the time to maximize the value for him. Good option. A Pat Fryermuth, same thing. He's under contract for a few more years. Is he a
Mhm.
good player? Absolutely. Is he irreplaceable in terms of an offense? Not at all. You could get maybe a mid-round draft pick for him. And then all of a sudden, you have now acquired a couple of extra valuable picks, and the Steelers do really well between rounds 2 and 5 in the NFL draft. And you're going to get players that will just build towards that future championship window. That being said, the Steelers don't approach things that way. They are not
No,
let's
no,
think towards the future 5 years from now. They are, we're going to win this year, so we're going to trade a 6th round pick for a Kyle Duggar in a 7th. We're going to do whatever we need to do to make that happen. Not, oh, this is a strategic move for the 2028 championship team that we're building towards now. It just won't happen.
no. Yeah, I agree. I think it could happen if the right compensation comes. Like if they say if somebody offers like a 3rd round pick for Alex Highsmith, which I'm not going to rule out, to be really honest, or a 3rd or a 4th round pick for Pat Fryermuth, I think there's a conversation that Omar Khan might be like, look at dude, we could replace these guys. We should just make this happen. You're not going to give them up for nothing. And I don't know if teams are actually going to be doing that, but there are teams. The San Francisco 49ers have literally no pass rushers left. You know what I mean? The Dallas Cowboys are looking for pass rushers. You're going to have teams who think that they are a pass rusher away from winning a Super Bowl. The New England Patriots are another one. And maybe they look in that direction, and that's where they find the Steelers. And again, at that point, they could offer something a little bit more. Eddie, the first to think I picked this game to come to before the season started because I honestly felt we would roll them. Anyway, the Berg is beautiful. Eddie, I'm glad to hear you hit Permanis. Glad to hear you're enjoying yourself. It is crazy windy outside, so I hope that you are not getting blown away out there in the good old city of Pittsburgh. Enjoy yourself. And look, I again have not picked the Steelers to lose in years, and they have proven me wrong many, many times, so many times. I feel like, if anything, I'm working hopefully in their favor in this one. Bernard, people think A-Rod is okay. He's better than okay. Anybody who thinks Aaron Rodgers is only playing okay this season needs to go look at the quarterbacks in the NFL, because there are not many that are playing better than Aaron Rodgers this season. I'm not saying this is Aaron Rodgers' 5th MVP. This is the greatest thing we've ever seen at 41 years old. What I'm saying is there's Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, like half of Jalen Hurts because the other half he stinks. And like that might be a Drake May, and that might be it. Like that might be the only quarterbacks that right now are actually performing better than Aaron Rodgers in the NFL.
Yeah, he's been excellent, and I think the fact that he's 41 only sort of raises that evaluation. So yeah, I don't think he's been. I do not think that he's been okay. I think he's been great and excellent and much better than expected.
Yes. Oh, very much so. Much better than expected. Lindsay, what are you two supposed to be for Halloween? And are you trick-or-treating? Not doing some trick-or-treating.
No, I'd like to, but no, I'll be handing out the candy to trick-or-treaters.
My trick-or-treating is I always buy way too much candy. That way, at the end of the night, I could sit down and eat every Reese's available to me before the time I start eating them and the time that I feel so sick I have to go to bed. As for who we are, we got it covered. Shout out to the dude here. I got to put the shades on. One sec. Boom.
You're welcome.
Shout out. Appreciate you, Lindsay. We're having a good time here on good old all Steelers talk. Bernard, does A-Rod still come back? No, not right now. No chance right now. I don't think even a little bit, to be honest. There's a zero part of me that thinks A-Rod would return unless something drastic happens. That being said, this has been a roller coaster ride of its own. The A-Rod return, doesn't return, maybe returns type of conversation has taken us through loops upon loops at 7 weeks in. So I think that, anything could happen. But where we sit today heading into the Colts game, my answer is no.
Anything can happen. Indeed, anything can happen. I think he sails off into the sunset and then just maybe becomes an ayahuasca guide or, does something like that and,
What is
just
the
really enjoys
sunset
it.
at 8 and 9? What you mean
Oh, I'm not saying
you just soar right off the earth and then just
yeah, you
evaporate?
sail right off of the flat earth and
Yeah, you head towards the sun and get taken out by a meteor? Like, what is
Yeah, you know what? You're bang on. It's not going to be a glorious sunset, you know what I mean?
No,
But it's
real
he's gonna
cloudy
sail off into
sunset.
a storm perhaps.
That's
But
it. Sails right off into a hurricane 5, and it doesn't go well. But that's that's where he's at for sure, for sure. Dougie Fresh, driving to the game from Indy with a couple Colts fans, not looking forward to the 6-hour drive back to Indy. At least I can show off my beautiful city. Shout out first off, Dougie Fresh. I am you. You are me. We are one. Shout out my guy. Shout out my guy. For those listening, Dougie Fresh's profile picture is the dude. And I hope that you do get to show off your beautiful city. I hope it's wonderful out here this weekend. And I'm actually very excited for the Steelers to prove all of us wrong. That's what I'm so excited for Monday to come on this show and say, haha, that was awesome. Good for them. Way to tell us we suck. And that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling. Keeping it trucking here. Lindsay, did you see practice today? If so, did you think Duggar played well? Ramsey said he's impressed. You were at practice today.
Mhm. I was at practice today. I think Duggar looked like a player who is in his second day with his team. And that's challenging, but I think they were being very I think honestly, yeah, I think impressive is a great word for it because he's getting on an actual moving train, not in the Mike Tomlin sense. Like he is coming in here, learning a brand new playbook on the fly, and he's expected to take on significant snaps on Sunday. So I think he looks fine. I'm curious to see how he does in pass coverage. Doesn't strike me as the fleetest of foot. And that is, when you think of what they need to do in terms of upgrading the secondary, getting someone who isn't the fastest isn't really the ideal solution in my mind. But all that aside, I think he has looked fine. He's looked great. Looks like he's catching on rather quickly. And I would take Jalen Ramsey's word for it over mine.
Yeah. You know what? Respectfully, I would too, but only respectfully. You know what I mean? You would be as close to a number 2.
Respectfully, I think what you say sucks.
No. Be as close to a number 2 as they come. In some situations, I'd be like, Jalen, you're talking out your butt right now. My boy Jacob's over here spitting fire. There's a different conversation. ND Joe, the Saints could be a one-stop shop for Pittsburgh with the Rashid Shaheed and Alante Taylor that could be traded. Taylor is questionable with the shoulder injury, but could rest while learning the defense. I don't disagree with this. The only problem is I spoke to sources over the last 2 days and like league sources, and it's a different situation, but it's the same type of people that told me that the Pittsburgh Steelers called for Chris Olave back in like February. And my understanding of the Saints is that they really are like, they're really sitting there with a real expectation that Rashid Shaheed and Taylor could both go for 3rd round picks. Like at some point you just have to stop arguing with people who are not worth arguing with. And that is the Saints. That's what it feels like. It feels like these guys really have no idea what they're doing. And they're just holding on to nothing for no reason whatsoever. Because Tyler Shuck's here, man, and the future has arrived. But that's my outlook right now.
I mean, credit to New Orleans for being very difficult to negotiate with, right? Like they're clearly being they're sticking to their guns and they are not going to budge until the last moment. And I think from a negotiation tactic and standpoint, like they probably will come out getting more value than those players are worth. Would I give up a 3rd individually for either of those players? No. Would I give up a 3rd for both? Honestly, not really. But if you have to do it on Tuesday at 3 p.m., I think a team is very willing to make a deal like that versus, on Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I very much so agree. as it gets moving, I think things change tremendously. Salad bar, sneeze guard, start bench cut, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I know my answer.
I'm debating between start and bench in my head real quick. So why don't you go ahead and go first?
My start is Thanksgiving. I mean, there's nothing better than food. And nothing in the whole world better than food. Food, beer, football, from literally the moment you wake up till you go to bed. We work in sports, so it's not even like a real day off, which stinks. But besides that, it's okay. You deal with what you got to deal with. You wake up the next morning and you push through what you got to push through with, and then you go on the road and you cover a football game. So I'm Thanksgiving all day long. I am benching Christmas because I love Christmas. Christmas is awesome. I hate the snow more than anything in the whole world. I hate the snow. I hate the snow more than I hate the devil. And it's a real thing. And I'm really not into Christmas food. Like I love Christmas cookies. Those are awesome.
What's Christmas food to you?
I'm an Italian. I'm from an Italian family, so we just eat the 7 fishes on Christmas Eve, dude, and it stinks. Like nobody
that's
wants
bad.
that much. Yeah, nobody wants that much fish. There's nobody. Me and my dad will sneak kielbasa out in the back porch. We've been doing it since I'm like 5, and every time I'm like, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell, but this is so worth it because I'm not eating Aunt Pam's fish sticks. You know what I mean? Like I don't want tilapia on Christmas Eve. I want eggnog, cookies, and kielbasa. That's what I want, and it just doesn't work.
Did your Italian family not make pasta in addition to the 7 fishes?
Yeah, it's pasta with tuna fish sauce, which is good. Don't get me
no
wrong.
other options?
No other options.
Because I'm not touching that. No, dude. I mean, we grew up in very, I think, similar American Italian households, and so the 7 fishes, I grew up with that as well. And my brother and I would we would say we were going to church, and we'd go to Wendy's, and then we'd go to the family party on Christmas Eve where 7 fishes was being served for dinner. So we would have good food. But yeah, no, that's not, I still do 7 fishes because we celebrated with my mom and her husband, and we do a modified version. But yeah, man, but on Christmas Day, what are you feasting on Christmas Day? It's not fishes and no more.
No. It's Christmas Day. It's raviolis, which are good.
There we go. Now we're talking.
But Christmas Day we usually travel. So I'm from Jessup. My wife's from Pittsburgh, so we spend Christmas Eve at my house, and then we leave around noon, and we drive across the state to her parents' house so that we can go with her family on Christmas Day. So Christmas Day kind of stinks. You know what I mean? It's not even like fun. Christmas is getting benched, and then Halloween's gone, dude. Halloween. I love Halloween. Don't get me wrong, but not enough food. Not enough food for me.
No, it makes my belly hurt because I eat too much chocolate and candy and sugar, and there's no sustenance. I'm just a little different from you. I start Christmas. Christmas is near and dear to my heart. From basically December 23rd to the new year, I'm all about it. Love Thanksgiving. Food's incredible. That's my bench. Gotta cut Halloween. I'd be fine if Halloween just didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Yeah. My life is unaffected. One of my favorite movies, Halloween. Probably doesn't come out, but I live.
That's gonna be okay. I love it. Broderick Wallace, fun fact. Broderick, I appreciate you tossing your full name in here. I think we should all just start tossing full legal names in the thing. Shout out to Broderick Wallace. Fun fact: the Big Lebowski wears Varnet Legend 03 sunglasses. That's a pretty sick fun fact, actually. Shout out to Broderick. Shout out to Broderick Wallace, my guy. Not shout out to Broderick, dude.
Shout out to Broderick Wallace, social security number 1.
It's one of the OGs here. I'm shocked that I'm like some of them I'm spot on. Some of you guys I'm spot on getting like as soon as you pop up, and other people I'm like, I don't know what salad you were, but your name is nowhere near it. Luckily, Broderick Wallace was always just Broderick Wallace. That's my guy right there. Shout out. Appreciate it. Great fun fact. Lindsay, Noah, did you steal those sunglasses from Mike T? Right out his drawer. Right out his drawer. Shout out my guy. Vincent, Sebastian Castro. He just wanted to clarify this one. He was signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 3. something like that. It was early in the season, and he's now on their active roster. Patriotic Steel, any update on the names in the chat getting fixed? We missed the awesome names. Yeah, we missed the awesome names too. It stinks. Shout out to YouTube for stinking up the whole group chat here for no reason whatsoever. No, I sometimes they pop up too. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I have no idea. I've looked into it a little bit, not a whole ton, and everywhere I look just says it's just YouTube and they're just being dumb. So makes no sense. Makes no
Everybody
sense.
tweet at YouTube.
But don't include our name because then we'll never get views
No.
again.
Who runs YouTube? I don't know anything about it.
I think YouTube's owned by Google now.
Oh, you Google.
Which Google stinks nowadays, so of course.
Yeah. If they're listening, they're the best. But yeah, I agree with you about that. If everyone wants to don't mention us, don't say we sent you. But everyone find out who it is and then be like, hey, the way you guys are handling the chat on live streams on YouTube is like especially booty cheeks lately. Maybe you guys should fix it. So I can enjoy my favorite content. And then don't tag us, but then once it's done, tag us.
Yeah. It's like heroes for sure. Yeah. Before that,
As
pick your
heroes.
worst podcast and tag them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out Pittsburgh Hornets. You know what this team needs? A nice rug. I bet a nicer rug really ties the locker room together. Shout out my guy. I got a roll-up rug right here. I got another one over there. I think I'm going to carry it around with me when we go. Just a constant glass of White Russian and a rug. I think that would be awesome.
Just saying, awesome. In every room you walk in, really tight. The rug really tied this room together.
every time. Nate needs more salad. And Noah, with the spooky holiday going, are you nervous about the ghost in your house? Wow, dude, the questions today are awesome. No, I'm not really. I'm pretty chilling on the ghost. Me and the ghost, man. The ghost doesn't even scare me anymore. It just doesn't. The ghost to me, put them up, sock them, rock them, robots right here in the house. I'm pretty convinced that I could fight this ghost and win. You know what I mean? Most ghosts, no chance. This one, bring it on.
You know,
bring it on, Irene.
You know what I pictured while you were just saying that? I think it's you have never mind. I was gonna make a movie reference that you haven't seen. I'm sorry. A Scary Movie 3.
I've seen all the scary movies.
Oh my gosh.
Those are the ones I have
Scary
seen.
Movie 3. When they parody The Ring and Regina Hall she fights the girl coming out of the TV and she's like, yes. Sydney, I'm whooping her ass.
That's how I picture the ghosts coming. You know what I mean? And I've always been like, oh, dude, ghost comes out of my TV right now. Put them up. And I'll win, dude. Don't even worry about it. Sir Kush Lord. So with the Colts being who they are, does this game seem like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of win? I think the Steelers win if they could stop Jonathan Taylor, to be really honest. If you shut down the Colts run game and put this game in Daniel Jones's hands, I think you got an opportunity to actually pull this one off.
Yeah, you find a way to limit Jonathan Taylor, you got a chance to beat the Colts for sure. The way I read this, I don't know. The way I read this question was like Sir Cushlord is talking about the Colts like lack of strength in their schedule.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
No, I do.
Or
I kind of feel the same way. But I don't. The Steelers are the same way as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Steelers locker room won't care. If they get a win, they get a win. Like, and they will be celebrated like they beat the best team in football. I think the scrutiny about how the Colts have gotten to 7-1 only exists outside of NFL locker rooms.
Yeah, yes. I very much so agree with that. And I think the Steelers are in the same boat, you know, like they've had some impressive games, but they really haven't beaten anybody like super over the top yet. Yinzer Jake, 1 month. It's been at least 2. I agree. Yinzer Jake's been around forever. YouTube, man. YouTube's they're just off their rockers. I don't know what to tell you, but they're just off their rockers. Beer is facts. Beer is good for you. If the Steelers lose, do they become sellers on Monday and Tuesday? That's a great question. If the Steelers are 4-4 heading into Monday, Do they rethink their entire philosophy?
No, they should, but they won't. They absolutely should. They're not they're not a Super Bowl team right now, period. So, I'm not sure why they were being so aggressive and remain intent to be so aggressive before the deadline, but I think that will continue. Even if they lose on Sunday, they're going to go out and add another cornerback. They're going to go out and get that wide
Yeah.
receiver finally. Like another move's coming, and it won't be them giving up an Alex Highsmith for a draft pick or a Pat Fryermuth for a draft pick. They're going to be adding another player. I don't agree with it, but that's what they're going to do.
Do you think that there's a chance that they just sell as much as they can to replace as much as they can? Like a complete overhaul mid-season to try to do it again?
I can't. That feels like a move that will just be more harm, will bring more harm than good for the Steelers. And I think just because of the way Mike Tomlin struggles to bring new players into his system mid-season, I think it would be a huge risk to take, 3 or 4 members of the secondary, get new ones, swap out the ones that aren't working to bring in 2 new wide receivers, and then you get rid of, Scotty and who, like whatever. Like I think that is you're at that point you're taking the risk of none of those players get used and the Steelers just got way worse. So I don't know if like an overhaul like that is going to happen. And I would not be in favor of it. I don't know if you are, but I
no chance. Yeah, move on. I think sell, but they're not going to sell. I agree with you. I think there are some positions. LKZ, what positions are realistically going to get filled? I think there's a chance that you trade for a corner. I think there's a chance that you trade for a linebacker. And I think there's a real chance you trade for a wide receiver. I expect a wide receiver. The other two I think are on the table. And I think if the defensive line looks bad, I think defensive line could get added there on Monday. Where we are today, I could see those 3 positions being the ones that the Steelers go after.
Man, and do you have a over under 2.5 trades before Tuesday? Where are you at with
under. But
okay. So 2 or
under
2 or less.
Under.
Okay.
Yeah. I think 2.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think there's one more move to make. And I think it's probably adding a wide receiver at this point.
Yeah, I think a wide receiver is a definite. I think if the Steelers defense looks bad on Sunday, you could expect Omar Khan to start calling some teams about defensive moves on Monday. Shane, who is Daryl Porter Jr.? He's a practice squad corner that the Steelers are very impressed with. Actually started the final preseason game over guys like Beanie Bishop. He was pretty impressive. He was not a guy that I thought was going to make the roster, but I thought, if anybody's making their way up right now, it's Daryl Porter Jr. They're fans of him. I think they'd call him up over anybody else to start with on the practice squad. Then they'd go Beanie Bishop from there. Jermaine, where's Isaiah Simmons at safety? A free agent waiting for somebody to call. It's not the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also toss this out there and tell me if I'm crazy. The Steelers right now are not a team that are going to attract many big name free agents, because if they lose on Sunday, if they win on Sunday, it's a different story. If they lose on Sunday, like, what are you signing for? You're signing to go play for a really bad team with a really bad defense? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like what incentive does it seems like Justin Simmons is conceivably holding out to join the best contender, the best situation that is also a contender. So if the Steelers are like, hey, we're 4-4, need some safety help, you and Chuck Clark gonna run the safety position, what do you say? And why would he sign that? What does that even give him? He wants to try to play in January, So I don't think I think he's gonna sign with the Chiefs or the Bills, or he's gonna sign with one of those teams who just feels like you can pencil them into the AFC Championship game.
Yes, I very much so agree. Yins or Joe, Noah and Jake, when was the last time a coach was traded, and can you use Tomlin for a wide receiver trade? The last time a coach was traded, I think, was it was Sean Payton to Denver. I think you could trade Tomlin for $1 billion picks. The Steelers would never. but I think that you could trade Tomlin for $1 billion picks. It usually happens when a guy retires and then comes out of retirement, is still under contract. It'd be like if the Steelers were to go trade Bill Cowher somewhere. I don't think there's any chance Tomlin would ever, even if they were ready to move on, I don't think that the Steelers would trade Tomlin. I think they would just mutually agree to part ways and let him go do his thing.
Bruce Arians got traded
but before Sean Payton, right?
Yes. Sorry, I did not specify that. Yeah, he was traded in 2019.
Yeah,
Sean Payton was in 2023.
Yeah. Sean Payton, and he went for a first, I think 2 seconds. It was a crazy trade to go get that guy, and it was right after Russell Wilson signed. And so far, it's working out for them, but you're not gonna, unfortunately, trade Mike Tomlin for a wide receiver. Max,
there's never been a coach traded for a position player.
No, that would be crazy. You're getting like 15 years of coaching for like maybe 3 seasons of a player. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be wild. Max, best stat on Duggar is only 2 missed tackles this season. Steelers so far couldn't tackle Jacob Punteri. Let's be honest, okay? I couldn't tackle Jacob Punteri. No chance at all. Look at that elusiveness. If Duggar's there to tackle some guys, great. Because to be honest, Juan Thornhill, Darius Slade, Chuck Clark, they're not doing a great job at it. And I think that's I'm optimistic about what we could see from Duggar. Do I think he replaces Deshaun Elliott? No chance. Do I think it would have been nice to maybe have him while Deshaun Elliott was still here? Yes, I do. I think that would have been a positive. But here we are, and I don't think I don't think right now that's something that gets me like too juiced up. Pittsburgh Hornets, what's the biggest name we could actually trade for if we do? You already know it today. You already know the answer. For those of you who did not see Jalen Waddle become available once again, I hope you made it 57 minutes into this podcast. I pray that you did, because the Miami Dolphins fired their general manager today to essentially say, Mike McDaniels, you are on the hot seat. You are on deck. You are up next. And that means everybody else is gone. The Miami Dolphins couldn't score against a pack of feathers yesterday. And that, my friend, does not tell me they are keeping their offense together. It's Jalen Waddle. It's Jalen Waddle. I rest my case.
Yeah. I think the biggest name they could get, I won't give you a wide receiver name. It's someone we talked about. It's Quincy Williams from the New York Jets to improve their middle linebacker depth. And I think
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just think it might not be the big name that Noah really desperately wants in Jalen Waddle, but it will be someone who has some name recognition.
Yesterday when we were talking about that, it took me until this morning when I was making clips going, he said Quincy Williams, huh? Not Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
And I 4 times was like, up. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I just like every time. And I was like, I know who it is. I thought I did. I thought I was locked on.
You were. It was just a simple misunderstanding. I'm a mumbler.
No, that was not. I said his name out loud. Quincy Williams. Yeah.
Third overall pick. I was like,
that's not him. That's not him. Ian's or Joe, what happened to Dante Kent? He's still on IR dealing with a foot injury. Not totally sure if he's going to come back this season. The Steelers would have to open up his 23 or 21 day window before they actually did. LKZ, did they not like Isaiah Simmons when they brought him in? I was surprised Isaiah Simmons didn't stick around. That one was a shock to me. Felt like the Steelers had a real opportunity to bring a guy in that could play some special teams and at least have him on his practice squad and feel pretty okay about it. But they did not go that direction. I was a little bit surprised as he was there. Enigma After Dark, in the spirit of Halloween, what horror movie villain would hypothetically boost our roster? Frankenstein is the pretty easy answer. Oh man, I'm gonna toss a different one at you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Mr. Adams from the Addams Family. Because that boy's elusive. That boy, that guy's out there doing stuff. I'm just saying.
Saying Gomez Adams?
Gomez Adams, dude. Not
The
from
dad?
Wednesday. The dad, dude. That
From like yeah, he's quick.
he's
From, like,
quick, dude. He's
our
sword fighting all the
generation.
time. Yeah,
Okay,
dude. Not the
now I'm
one
with
from
you, now I'm with
Wednesday.
you.
Not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the one from
Luis
Wednesday.
Guzman, I don't think
Yeah, no,
is who could help
no
us, dude.
chance. No chance. But the OG, that guy was sword fighting everybody. He was just having a ball, man. He's having a ball.
Give me Michael Myers. You can't bring that MFer down. You know what I mean?
Great at tackling.
Try as you may.
Best angles in the world. Best angles all time. That guy's got. You never could run fast enough to get away from Michael Myers. That guy always. You turn around, you're like, how'd he do that? How'd he get behind me? Angles, bro. It's all about the angles. It's all about the angles. And we're gonna finish it off here with Eternal. Noah, did you see what Dulac said about Mike Tomlin? Did you see this yesterday? I caught it very right before the podcast today.
The thing about Rooney being impatient.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
It's a little bit of a. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, what do you make of it? Because I don't know.
I think that's the first time I've heard the word impatient with Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin's names together. And I think that's a little bit significant. Maybe not all the way significant, but I think there is something there, like there's not. Look at sources inside that building push so heavily that those two have such a strong relationship that if they're starting to push the other way, I think it says something. Do I think it says it's over? No, but I think it definitely says something.
I think it's a testament to the patience of the Rooneys because
yes,
just now beginning to become impatient. Wow.
It only took 19. That's look at the one thing you can never say about Mr. Rooney, not patient. That boy is patient and he is optimistic. That is a guy who loyal. He will stick with you till you are far gone. And that's where it kind of seems to be. I don't think it changes anything where the Steelers are right now. I think they'd ride out this contract, but I do think that again at the end of the season, like last year, we got the warning of there will be real changes. There were none. This year, if it happens again, I could see those real changes that they threatened last year actually be put into place, which means that Tomlin loses some power and they go in a couple of different directions with a couple of different people. That's what I think is going to happen. That's if they collapse again this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, how many times can the warnings come before the actions follow? So I hope you're right because I feel like we are hearing this once again, this sort of like, the frustrations mounting behind the scenes. They're going to really make the changes that make the difference. And it's just, I'll believe it when I see it, Yeah,
I very much so agree with that. I very much so agree with that. All right. With that said, guys, we're heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. With that said, everybody go enjoy a spooky, happy Halloween. And we will be back on Monday. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the park. Peace.